Take two, because Lydia has just interrupted my first video. I was 5 minutes in. I was talking about carrots. I was getting quite enthused about carrots, and it was ruined by Lydia. Get your back of my hand, you all. Right, okay, let's talk about balancing your hormones. Because we all know that balancing your hormones is a brilliant topic. We want to keep you healthy. We want to prevent you from needing testosterone replacement therapy, because it's an involved process. It's a commitment. It takes some tinkering. And if you don't need to have TRT, then you shouldn't be looking towards testosterone as your fix. It can be a fix, and it is a fix, but it's only a fix for people who have a deficiency. Testosterone deficiency syndrome. It is not a vitamin. It is not a supplement. It's not something you just dip in and dip out of. It's something that takes commitment and an appreciation of the journey to hormone optimization. And it's something you need to work at. And it's something you need to work at for the rest of your life. It isn't something you just dip in and out of, because you can feel terrible on testosterone replacement therapy. You can feel worse than you did when you had low testosterone. Why can you feel worse? Well, because your hormones need to be balanced, balancing your hormones. And that takes some skill. How do you balance your hormones? Now, can you even balance your hormones? Because the reality is we live in a pretty shitty world. We should all be living in the country in small communities, growing our own veg, hunting our own animals to eat, and clocking this woman over the head and bringing her back to your cave. No, I'm only joking about clocking your head, clocking the head. Slap her. No, I'm joking. So yeah, you know, the reality is can you actually be healthy in this modern civilized world? It's hard to argue that you can. And wow, look at this epidemic of poorly people. Look at this epidemic of guys with low testosterone. The unknown silent killer that loads and loads of guys are walking around not realizing that they do not have to feel this bad. They could feel significantly better, but it comes at a cost. It comes at a price. And it's one of those things that you have to weigh up the pros and cons in order to make an informed decision about whether it's the best thing for you to do. So it isn't a given when you have low testosterone that you should go on to TRT. What you should do is you should look for reversible causes and address them. And that should all happen in your diagnostic workup. But the obvious thing is you need to look at the fundamentals of health. So what are the fundamentals of health? Lifestyle, nutrition, and exercise. I wrote the Testosterone 10 Commandments quite a while back now, but I hope it still rings true. I did have a look at it the other day. And we should all be trying to follow them as best as possible. But it's quite hard in this modern civilized world. You know, we talk about minimizing stress. How can you minimize stress if you've got a stressful job? Leave the job? Find better coping mechanisms to deal with the stress? You know, there's a reason why people in the public sector have so many problems dealing with public. It's hard. It's hard meeting the expectations sometimes. because they're not normally realistic expectations. I'm entitled to this, I'm entitled to that. You're not entitled to anything, mate. You need to work for everything. And when you really appreciate that hard work, and achieving the goal from hard work, that dopamine response is far better from being given something. You don't get a dopamine reward that's actually worth it when something's given to you. Work, work, work. But all work and no play makes Rob a dull boy. Because you do need to appreciate that your anabolic processes predominate when you're resting. And especially obviously at night time. So sleep is so incredibly important. We have anabolic processes predominate at night time, and in the daytime it's catabolic processes when cortisol predominates. You do need some free testosterone to do the cool stuff, but your actual primary role of testosterone is obviously growth and repair. So to help facilitate that process, you need testosterone. You need that lovely SHBG that everybody thinks, oh no, SHBG. Actually, you do need it because the half-life of testosterone is so short, it varies between about 10 minutes and 100 minutes, that as soon as you produce the testosterone, it goes out your system. So you don't want that. You actually want it to bind to SHBG so it can get transferred into the cell. And SHBG actually helps express the testosterone within the cell. So when you listen to people going, "Oh, I need to lower my SHBG because I want to free up some testosterone," it's not. You don't really understand what balancing your hormones is all about. So you have to look at total testosterone, free testosterone, estrogen, SHBG, thyroid function. There are lots and lots of things involved in balancing your hormones. So we tend to fixate on the wrong things, and we tend to concentrate on the wrong things. Everybody's obsessed by estrogen, and it's actually quite a sensible thing to be addressing, because the estrogen can make you feel terrible. It can also make you feel great, but it has to be balanced. And it's complex. The mechanisms that are involved in balancing your estrogen are complex. Reach for an AI. No, Christ, have an understanding of why your estrogen is elevated and address that. So always look for a cause when you're thinking about reacting to something abnormal. It's much like the modern medicine model. Hello doctor, I've got this symptom. Can I have this tablet to help sort this symptom out? Well, yeah, the pharmaceutical industry would love you to have that tablet to help sort out this problem. But that tablet has numerous side effects, which can potentially cause more problems than the problem that you actually came in to see the doctor about. So it doesn't make any sense to kind of reach for a tablet when you should look to the fundamentals of health to try and address these problems. So lifestyle, nutrition, and exercise. And only if you've addressed these factors should you be looking to supplement with, I don't know, that's a bad word, because you need testosterone replacement therapy. So you're not supplementing, 100% not supplementing. So you should only go on testosterone replacement therapy if you have a confirmed deficiency. So I think it's important to appreciate that when you're balancing your hormones, it isn't actually just about free testosterone. It isn't actually just about estrogen. It's about everything. It's about balancing all of your hormones and appreciating the cause and not looking to a quick fix. Because there are mechanisms involved to maintain balance, so maintain homeostasis. There are complex mechanisms involved. And we're dumb. Humans are dumb. You know, what numpty still thinks that testosterone only is optimization? Because it's obviously not. You know, you're replacing the testosterone because you've got low testosterone, but we know that testosterone suppresses the pituitary, so that we know that you're not going to stimulate the hypothalamus to tell the pituitary to release luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. So to not have HCG in an optimal TRT protocol, you're not optimized. Yes, but HCG causes my estrogen to spike. Okay, well, yeah. It's a benefit risk discussion, because I do have guys that we have really struggled with, and they do feel better off of HCG, and I've done my best, but there are some outliers that just struggle and feel better without HCG, and that really is as a result of the fact that luteinizing hormone is released in a pulsatile manner normally, always. So it's boom, boom, boom. It's not a constant flow. So the HCG that mimics luteinizing hormone actually just feeds the testicles constantly. So you not only are you producing testosterone, there is an element of aromatization that happens in the testicles. So you have to appreciate that whilst we do our very, very best to mimic natural physiology with microdosing, which is the future, please, let's get on the train, please. You know, we cannot mimic the pulsatile way in which luteinizing hormone is released from the pituitary to tell the testicles to produce testosterone. But I'd prefer to have guys on HCG and control estrogen rather than not have them on. But we have had a couple of guys that have struggled, and it's, you know, we've had that benefit risk discussion, and you know, we always act in the best interest of the patient, and you know, there are a few of my guys that just take testosterone, but you're not truly optimized. But does that matter if you feel great and all your other parameters are okay? You know, you can make an argument for, you make an argument against. So when you think about balancing your hormones, you have to appreciate that we are talking about all of them. And, you know, I'm trying to free up some free testosterone, and I'm trying to try and decrease my SHBG. Well, then you don't really understand what the primary purpose of SHBG is. I mean, we've been over this before, so I'm not going to go over it ad nauseum, but it has a really important role. So you don't want to take drugs to suppress the SHBG that's trying to help you. You want to do a little dilly-dallying. What the hell am I talking about? You want to do a bit of titration. Dilly. So yeah, you know, with my high SHBG guys, what we tend to do is we actually tend to start off on a very normal protocol. Because the temptation would be to start people off on a high testosterone dose to bring down that SHBG, or to accommodate that SHBG so that your free testosterone is high. But what you tend to find when you start people on testosterone replacement therapy, even with the high SHBGs, is that their SHBG does tend to come down slightly. And the body does not like change. The body does not like dramatic changes, and you have to appreciate that. So it's actually slowly catchy monkey. You have to appreciate that there's a subtlety involved in balancing your hormones. So if you get a sledgehammer and we've got these millions of complex processes that are going on, and you just throw a spanner into the works, all of these complex processes that are designed to help you. I mean, some of them obviously aren't helping you because they can't, because of something wrong with the lifestyle, nutrition, exercise, something wrong with the environment that we can't change. Then if you throw a spanner into the works, then all of these processes have to adjust. So it's much like the hematocrit discussion. So there's a concern that testosterone replacement therapy raises hematocrit, and it does, because it tells the kidneys to produce erythropoietin, which tells the bone marrow to produce red blood cells. Now, I've used this discussion a few times before, and I'm not sure if I've used it in a video, but say you move to an area of high altitude. The atmospheric pressure means that your blood has to pump harder to get oxygen to the tissues to supply them with oxygen. So what happens to compensate that? Well, to not force your heart to pump harder, you produce more red blood cells, so which increases the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. And then loads of compensatory mechanisms happen so that you can restore homeostasis. Now, your hematocrit does not continue to rise, so these compensatory mechanisms protect you. But if you're on an erratic protocol, your body can't make the necessary compensations, so it's forced to change. So say I did this in the last video, but you inject once a week, and then your body has to react. It doesn't know you're injecting once a week every 20 years. So, you have to have a logical and methodical approach to testosterone replacement therapy. You need to appreciate that dramatic changes cause a physiological insult to your body. So, whilst it might seem conservative, actually, being conservative is best for your body. It's best. So, I'm going to say super important because Lydia just called me out on saying super important way too many times in the last video. But it is super important. So, there's a reason why we do things the way we do them. We are trying to mimic your natural physiology as closely as possible. And with what we have available, we do a pretty good job. It's not as good as the body. So, if you're thinking casually about, should I go on TRT? Should I boost my levels because I want to balance my hormones? You really do have to have a little think, and you do have to do your research, and you have to have an appreciation that we're animals. Can these animals in this modern shitty world balance the hormones? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard, but you should do your best, and even on TRT you should do your best, because it isn't all about testosterone, it isn't all about estrogen, it isn't all about SHBG, it's about everything, and appreciating that you need to adopt a holistic approach to testosterone replacement therapy, to balancing your hormones, will see you good in the future, in the long run, because this is what it's all about. It's all about having not only the qualitative improvement, so feeling good in the gym, feeling confident, having a clear brain, having a strong libido, strong word. These are all wonderful things. It's also about long-term physical and psychological health. And the best way of achieving that is by addressing not only how much you're banging in to make you feel great. No, it's not about that. It's about adopting a holistic approach to your health. After all, it's your health. You can hand over some of the responsibility to me, and I will balance your hormones, but I can only balance your hormones if you do what's right by you, and that's address your lifestyle, nutrition, and your exercise. That is the path to hormonal health. Wow, I've banged on for 19 minutes and 37 seconds. Time to go. Here's wishing you all hormonal health and balanced hormones.